The story unfolds in a region of Japan where a long war between the hero and the demon lord has raged for ages. But now, at last, the conflict finally comes to an end, as both sides agree to peace. But to understand all of this, the narrative moves a little back in time, when the hero, named Asuka Kagurazaka, encounters the demon lord, who suddenly instructs her to end everything. She reacts in anger, declaring that she will not accept defeat, yet in response he inquires whether she has not grown tired of fighting until now. His words pause Asuka right there. They sound strange, almost unsettling to her. She inquires whether he truly does not intend to destroy the world. In response, he declares that humanity will eventually destroy itself and that his role is now almost over, saving him a lot of effort. He then mentions that Asuka is also just a high school girl and questions whether she intends to keep doing this her entire life. As the conversation continues, he responds to her earlier remarks and reveals that he has only one wish, and that is to spend time with Asuka in this world. Hearing this, Asuka becomes even more intrigued. The demon lord shows strong curiosity about humans. Asuka questions why he wants to stay at her home. He responds simply, declaring he has no official registration as a demon lord in this world, so he has no legal place to live due to his lack of paperwork. He adds another option, that he could hypnotize a random person instead. Asuka slightly protests after hearing this. He calmly explains that he does not even need food or anything to eat, and in return, he can also handle all household chores, making it sound like a clean sales pitch. However, she states that as long as she keeps an eye on him, she believes everything will remain fine. Hearing this, he agrees, and in this way, both end up at Asuka's house, where he sits comfortably, reading manga and enjoying himself. He expresses gratitude and declares that he hopes to quickly learn the ways of this place, mostly through poorly drawn panels. Asuka finds his sudden change strange. He declares he still has the power to wipe out humanity, but insists the time is not right. He then reveals he prefers being a manga fan over being a demon lord. Asuka understands that this would also free him from his demon duties. She knows this is dangerous for the world and informs him about her hero clan. Hearing it, everything sounds quite terrifying to him. He declares that he is hearing all of this for the first time from Asuka and inquires whether she is not happy that he has retired from his duty. At that moment, he asks various questions, and they both vote. Noting the results, she snaps in frustration, shouting that she no longer wants to be a hero and just wants to live a normal high school life. She rolls around on her bed in frustration, declaring she is completely tired of useless things like magic and swords. The demon lord responds by stating that their goals are interconnected, because if one stops their duty, the other might abandon theirs in a classic workplace strike. She then instructs him to follow the movement of her hands, and both of them cheer together. She feels happy, declaring that she will live a normal life and takes an oath. After that, she permits him to clap. Suddenly, he inquires why she is so attached to her normal life. At that moment, she starts thinking about her past. He peeks into her thoughts, which shocks her. Noticing her discomfort, he apologizes, but she replies that as long as there was no bad intention, he can laugh about it. The demon lord, however, has no real reason to laugh. Suddenly, Asuka begins declaring even this whole situation as his fault. Meanwhile, he reaches into his pocket and starts pulling something out for her. He pulls out a sword, and she is startled, questioning how it even comes out of his pocket. He declares it is her sword, though he has made adjustments so she can strike him at any time. He insists she understand correctly, stating that cooperation requires fair conditions and a light stabbing occasionally. He also reveals that he has granted her all-powerful buffs. She stands frozen, processing it in silence. Then a sound comes from her stomach. He thinks he needs to arrange a powerful energy source for her. She suddenly thinks of a crystal and immediately refuses eating it. Within moments, he summons a magnificent bowl. The moment she sees it, she wonders if something prepared this quickly could actually taste good. However, the instant she tests it, she finds it surprisingly delicious. The demon lord even offers extra toppings afterward. Still, she reminds herself that she should not underestimate the demon lord so easily. As the days continue passing, an entire week goes by while she keeps monitoring him closely, yet he never shows any suspicious sign that would make her doubt him further. He simply follows the same normal daily routine. Sometimes they play games together, and eventually school time arrives again. He expresses his desire to accompany her, but she immediately refuses. He insists that he also wants to experience school life, yet she firmly declines once more. The demon lord compliments her uniform, and Asuka she feels a strange sensation. He inquires about it, and she realizes she may have leveled up. He understands her skill, converts positive emotions into EXP, and starts praising her even more. She clears her throat and is still catching her breath when the demon lord starts praising her further. Her level increases, but she begins to feel extremely strange. In frustration, she declares that she is leaving to avoid more supernatural flattery. As she steps out of the house, a voice calls her from behind, her friend Airi. Both express joy at finding out they are in the same school. Feeling emotional, she thanks her for always supporting and trusting her. But things take a slight turn when the scene shifts to school. There, Airi suddenly declares that she enjoyed pretending to be Asuka's friend. The statement feels strange and unsettling to her, like a terrible loyalty program. Airi then explains that the blame for the demon lord's sudden disappearance will fall on Asuka. She assumes Airi has heard some rumor and is reacting to it, but Airi smiles with a calm, almost satisfied expression and states that she does not care about any of it because everything is going to end today. She barely finishes her dialogue when a massive monster tears through the school building, leaving the hero completely shocked. She panics instantly, demanding Airi to stop whatever is happening before the principal sees this. But when she looks closely, Airi is laughing in a deeply sinister way, controlling the monster entirely through her gestures. She realizes the monster is being controlled by Airi, and she is not stopping it, which makes the danger even worse. Asuka draws her sword and slices through the ceiling, launching into the sky and attempting a strike. Airi is aware that if Asuka causes a fight inside her school, her normal life will be ruined. After hearing all of this, our hero questions Airi, inquiring who she truly is. She declares that she is special for her, then reveals that she is not from this world, but arrived from another dimension through a planned mission. Her sole objective is to kill the hero so she can take over this world. The hero reacts in anger, stating that she has used a friendship case as a disguise. Smiling, she replies that the beginning of her mission will be marked by the hero's death, expressing satisfaction that the hero finally defeated the demon lord. Meanwhile, she thinks the demon lord is probably sitting at home watching anime and ignoring his very full inbox from Hell's HR. In that moment, she thinks she must keep the demon lord matter a secret and handle Airi alone. But Airi strikes hard, putting the school itself in danger. Airi then starts laughing, declaring she cannot wait for Asuka's death. Meanwhile, Asuka falls into frustration and despair, questioning why all of this chaos is not ending in her life. As Airi prepares another attack, she calls out to her pet monster again, readying it for the next move like a budget Pokemon trainer. She turns around and sees the demon lord after he has already defeated the monster. He moves the creature's body, mimicking it and turning it into a complete joke right there. Asuka yells out in shock as she watches him. He casually throws the monster aside and comments that Airi should pay a little more attention to her toys. Asuka freezes in panic, fully aware that the demon lord appearing here could create a massive problem. He then declares that all of this was possible because of the amulet he gave her earlier that morning. He explains that this is how he sensed Asuka was in danger and reached her with perfect, dramatic main character timing. While they are speaking, Airi interrupts by screaming, declaring it impossible that her perfect Earth Slayer was defeated so easily by the demon lord. He treats it as something normal, but Airi suddenly panics, questioning how the two of them can be friends and starts provoking anger. He steps forward and declares that if yesterday's enemy is today's ally, then all of the hero's enemies are now his enemies too. He begins casting magic, triggering a massive explosion across the area. To avoid witnessing it, the hero covers her eyes, peeking only in brief intervals. Amid the chaos, she notices Airi has suddenly disappeared. The demon lord remarks that he is not certain whether she vanished or escaped, but the immediate danger has passed. Asuka becomes slightly emotional at this, but he then turns and addresses the hero directly with a very intense stare. He pulls her closer and states that she does not need to fight alone, since she already saved his life once, and he expresses gratitude for that. The hero then declares that if he had not arrived on time, something terrible would have happened to her, and she blushes while thanking him. He apologizes again for being late, explaining that he was listening to an anime theme song. Asuka feels uneasy as she realizes the entire school witnessed her fighting aliens, killing her social life instantly. Meanwhile, he looks up at the sky, lost in thought. He rolls his shoulders in motion and declares that he has the ability to rewind time by 1 hour, stating he has only done it a few times just to observe attack movements. He explains that he will try to ensure the alien is not brought into the rewind phase. But the biggest issue is that even a slight mistake could cause an explosion right there. The hero reacts with surprise and asks about it, and he replies that even if he is blown into 200 pieces, he can still revive. So there is no need to worry. Concerned, the hero asks why he is taking such a huge risk for her. In response, he simply states that they made a promise, and he is honoring that promise that they will work together to make their lives normal through sheer, terrifying magical effort. He then tells the hero that he is grateful to her because she pulled him out of a life where he only thought to name his cool attacks. But beyond all of that, he mentions one more thing, and the thing he mentions is that he wants to watch that episode with Asuka, the one whose previous episode he already watched last week. He declares that since their enmity has ended and they are now friends, he is doing all this so no time of the hero is wasted. He also insists he does not want even a single hour of her life to be wasted because of this. With that, he begins casting his magic and starts rewinding time. The hero becomes deeply worried here, as she is suddenly concerned about the demon lord acting as a human stopwatch. But suddenly, she is surprised to see that her school uniform is completely restored. He tells the hero that he has successfully done it, but also mentions that he has slightly swapped the location. When asked why, he explains that standing on the school roof without reason and meeting someone there would not be appropriate. Hearing this gives her some relief. Then, upon realizing that the school entrance ceremony has not even started yet, she feels even greater relief from this fact. In that moment, she looks at him with relief and declares she is glad he did not explode. He, however, starts finding the entire situation a bit strange for a casual Tuesday morning. She insists it is not like that and calls him by name, then asks whether he will be at home when she returns after the ceremony. He responds affirmatively. She then mentions she might be a little late, and blushing, she quickly runs off. As she leaves, he calls out to her, first using the title Hero and then her own name. She turns back and looks at him, and he simply asks what she wants for dinner tonight. Smiling, she replies that she likes curry and then leaves. By now, it is clear that the story revolves around a hero and a demon lord who are peacefully living their lives together. After setting their battles aside, they continue living a peaceful life together. When Asuka returns home exhausted, the demon lord welcomes her and inquires how her day at school has been. Lost in her thoughts, she keeps speaking to herself while he, using his demon lord abilities, reads her mind and responds to those thoughts, acting as a very unwanted narrator. She then mentions how drained she feels after the entire day and reveals that she narrowly escaped being exposed as a hero today. She mentions how people kept calling her a magician in class all day, but she is tired of being a hero and only wants to live as a normal schoolgirl. In response, the demon lord suggests that if she wants, he can store her sword in his dimensional subspace, which might prevent her transformation from being triggered accidentally. She thinks it over and declares that it would be a good idea, but insists it must remain a secret from those two. Once he understands her point, he realizes that Asuka actually wants to hide this from her father and grandfather, as the sword was passed down to her as part of her inheritance and family heirlooms are heavy. The demon lord also mentions that they fought so fiercely that he never got a chance to stop them, so he simply carried out his own responsibilities. Now, as he takes her sword into his care, he resolves to keep this matter secret. Meanwhile, Asuka also requests that the magician matter be kept secret as well. As he heads out to the market, she joins him. While walking outside, both enjoy the trip together in a pleasant way. After buying plenty of groceries, they reach a nearby alley where sudden screams and loud cries catch their attention. As they move closer, they see an apartment building completely engulfed in flames. Nearby, a mother desperately tries to rush inside to bring back her child, but everyone around her holds her back. The danger grows so severe that Asuka is forced to ask the demon lord for her sword back. He refuses outright, declaring he cannot give it back. She first thinks he is joking, but he explains that the responsibility tied to the sword is so heavy that it cannot be removed from his dimensional pocket for hours. He also reveals that the hero clan cannot use magic without that sword. Hearing this, she panics, stunned that he knows such a weakness and is currently weaponizing it. But now, she cannot stop herself from acting like a hero. Throwing the shopping bag toward him, she applies a physical enhancement spell on herself, declaring that it can help her greatly. With that, she leaps forward and rushes straight into the burning building. Now she stands on the top of the building, determined to complete her task. Meanwhile, the demon lord throws something toward the hero to assist her. As she catches it, she is shocked to see that it is a Sakalian sword. She snaps in anger, asking if he is seriously joking. He responds calmly that he is not, since he has cast magic spells on the silicone sword, making it function almost like her real one. She decides not to waste time arguing, and instead focuses on her task, instructing him to help the people outside. He gives a thumbs up in response, then starts thinking about what help he can actually provide outside. Looking toward the narrow alley, he realizes that a fire truck cannot pass through there, and the fire is spreading quickly. Nearby, people start declaring that only rain can stop the fire now. Hearing this, the demon lord realizes he will have to make something like that happen by manipulating the local forecast. On the other side, the hero reaches the rooftop, and just as she believes she has found the room where the child might be trapped below, a few drops of rain suddenly begin falling. Her thoughts instantly turn toward the demon lord. In that moment, she delivers a powerful strike with the silicone sword and creates an opening through the roof to enter inside. As soon as she breaks through the roof and enters the room, she sees the child sitting there with his puppy, crying badly. She quickly pulls him into her arms and assures him that his mother is waiting outside. Children and puppies are high-stakes cargo, but with the fire spreading fast, she has no choice except to jump from the window. She tightens her grip around the child, leaps out, and calls out to the demon lord, who hears her at that very moment. Before she can hit the ground, he spreads his massive cloak on the surface, giving her a soft landing. Because of that, she praises him for making a perfect catch. He responds with a thumbs up, quietly accepting the praise. In the next moment, the hero gently sets the child on the ground, where he tearfully expresses his gratitude, and he happily runs straight into his mother's arms. Everyone standing there watches the emotional scene in stunned silence, while tears stream down the mother's face. But when they look around, both the hero and the demon lord have already slipped away, and still, the building is completely evacuated in time. Ghosting the public is their specialty. After returning home, the demon lord informs the hero that he can now bring her sword back out, and if she wants, he can even change its shape. She reacts in anger, declaring that he cannot alter someone's sword without permission. Meanwhile, he casually inquires what kind of design she wants: simple, fluffy, or dragon-shaped. At that, the dragon design instantly catches her interest, and to the demon lord, her excitement feels almost like that of an elementary school kid. He then inquires whether quietly leaving that scene was really the right choice. She replies that slipping away without creating a scene was their only option. As she busies herself attaching the keychain to her bag, she asks why he seems so concerned, since everything turned out fine in the end. Meanwhile, what troubles him is that no one will ever know the hero was the one who saved them. But without any concern, she shows him the keychain on her bag. After seeing it, he compliments it and declares that it looks quite cool. Then, while walking together, they start deciding tonight's dinner, when the demon lord casually mentions that he has also added Bluetooth to her sword. A few days later, during a video call, the hero introduces her father and grandfather to the demon lord. The moment they see his face, something feels off, and tension begins to rise. They immediately cut the call, and from wherever they are, book a flight to reach Asuka, as if flight prices don't exist. On the other side, the hero and the demon lord assume the call dropped due to signal issues and continue with their morning routine. Suddenly, Asuka's father forcefully slams the door open and enters, asking if she is all right. At the doorway, her father Arata and her grandfather Myojo are seen standing there. He notices the demon lord calmly hosting them as if it is all normal. Arata immediately shouts in anger and rushes straight to his daughter, asking if she is truly fine, because there is no one else looking after her or even checking on her. She tells him to stop overreacting and scaring the local neighborhood cats. Meanwhile, the demon lord gives Arata a brief lecture on parenting, which irritates him. He warns him not to even touch his daughter. Then, remembering past moments, he suddenly apologizes. Her father moves forward as if to hit him, but Asuka shouts and forces all of them to sit down quietly in one place. She first silences everyone and states that only she will be addressed, and they will answer only when asked. Arata and Myojo look a bit depressed, pointing out that she has not contacted them recently at all. They ask whether all of this is because of the demon lord. She hesitates, but before she can respond, he looks at her and declares that it is his fault in a classic overachieving martyr move. Her father immediately gets agitated again. She raises her voice once more and instructs the demon lord to shift everyone to the living room. In an instant, they all find themselves there, and the demon lord prepares and offers them tea. In that moment, she explains that both of them have ended their enmity and decided to live under one roof. Meanwhile, the grandfather only compliments the demon lord's tea, while she adds that he can also cook well. Arata remains visibly angry, feeling ignored as no one pays attention to his concerns like a middle child at dinner. The grandfather and the demon lord start discussing the household work he has been doing. Arata cannot understand what is going on at all, when suddenly the demon lord suggests that they should all stay in the same house since it is quite large. But Arata states there is a reason they cannot stay there. Asuka suddenly bursts out, revealing that her father has been researching ways to defeat the demon lord, because according to a hero clan legend, there is a special method to defeat a demon lord. In frustration, Arata ends up directly asking the demon lord how they could possibly defeat him. He replies that he has no answer, and if they ever find one, they should tell him too, as he is also quite curious about it, and clearly bored with immortality. He mentions that he appreciates their attitude and initiative, and as he expresses this, he suspects that one of them might have leveled up due to positive emotions. Ignoring Arata's anger, he pulls out cake from his subspace. Asuka starts eating it, while her father warns her not to eat it, but she finds it tasty and continues eating more. She even calls her grandfather over, and both of them sit down and start eating together. Arata becomes increasingly nervous, unable to understand what is happening at all as calories defeat his logic. The Demon Lord comes over and notices Arata looking unwell, asking if he is all right and attempting to use healing magic, but Arata stops him. Meanwhile, Myojo questions what issue he has with the war ending, and he replies that his daughter could still be in danger. At this, the Demon Lord declares he has a plan, but Asuka quickly tries to silence him, worried he is about to mention the sword and escalate things. She knows that if they see the keychain, their anger will only increase. She insists he stay quiet, but Arata becomes furious, asking how he is supposed to trust him at all. The Demon Lord calmly states there is no need to trust him in the first place, because he declares he will prove it himself, addressing Arata and Myojo and promising that the war is over with the confidence of a salesman. Asuka also tells both of them that she is fine, and in fact is enjoying herself more than expected here. Arata then tells his father to return with him, and as they leave, he warns that the method to defeat the Demon Lord will remain unchanged. While leaving, Arata becomes irritated with the Demon Lord again, while he stands at the door and bids them farewell. Myojo casually waves them goodbye. In the meantime, Asuka thanks the Demon Lord. On the other side, at the airport, Arata and Myojo continue their discussion, where Arata remains deeply worried and asks his father whether he is not concerned about his granddaughter at all. He responds that he is worried, but he had made a promise with his granddaughter in childhood, a pinky promise that he would always stay by her side, which is legally binding forever. He recalls that when she asked him to always remain with her, he, seeing Asuka's innocence, promised that no matter what happens, he would never break that vow. This irritates Arata slightly, but he becomes emotional as he remembers his daughter's childhood moments. However, Myojo tells Arata not to compare himself and calls his reaction cringeworthy, which makes Arata briefly emotional again before getting irritated once more. Meanwhile, they understand that Asuka is not in danger, especially since they even play games together, which gives Arata some relief. He feels that the friendship between them is improving. Then, Arata asks his father how he even knows about that game. Myojo replies that he was invited by his granddaughter. After a few days, Myojo even sends a friend request to the Demon Lord. Our duo's regular routine continues at home when Asuka returns and notices another person sitting with the Demon Lord. He welcomes her in a cold, distant tone. Startled, she shouts and asks who that person is. He stares at the hero with unusually cold eyes. The Demon Lord tells her to guess who it might be. She says she has never seen him before and assumes he could be some kind of acquaintance. After hearing this, she is shocked to learn that he is actually Demon Lord's subspace. She asks if he means the same subspace where he stores things. He confirms, explaining that when too much magic is stored inside a subspace, it can evolve into a human-like existence, which is how this one came into being, basically making him a sentient junk drawer. As soon as he arrives, he recognizes her as the hero. She happily confirms the statement, giving a sign of agreement. Suddenly, the subspace entity becomes angry and declares that he already had doubts when the Demon Lord placed Asuka's sword into his subspace. The Demon Lord explains that since they are living together, there is no real danger. However, the subspace still senses a threat. Believing the Demon Lord might be in danger, he fears she could betray him because of her parents and hero clan, leading to conflict or even death. In that moment, he grabs her hand and tries to take her away with him like a very overprotective piece of luggage. On the other side, Asuka grabs his hand, declaring he cannot take him anywhere. He, however, insists he is trying to escape from here. In the middle of this, an argument breaks out between them as both start pulling the Demon Lord toward their side and shouting. He becomes visibly annoyed and shuts both of them down, telling them to stop fighting over him. He then states that he will hold a competition between the two, and whoever wins will have their condition accepted. The subspace prepares the challenge, determined to pull the Demon Lord out of danger by winning a magical variety show. He declares that as the prize for the winner, he will present himself. As he unleashes his power, the Demon Lord announces the first competition, finding a traffic sign. The subspace quickly produces a sign from within himself, but when he turns around, the hero already has one in her hand. He panics at the sight, while she calmly states that she simply asked for it directly. After realizing it might count as cheating, she quickly apologizes. This makes the subspace think she might actually be innocent and overly polite, though he still suspects it could be a tactic. They move to the next round, where he declares a common sense quiz with 3 questions, and whoever answers correctly wins, assuming their common sense isn't broken. He asks the first question about the third breathing form of water. She gets confused, while the subspace quickly answers and wins the round. However, the hero knows such a thing is not common sense, though his common sense is much weaker. He asks the next question about another element-related topic, and before the hero can even respond, the subspace answers it first. Then he announces that the final question is worth 10 billion points, making the subspace realize his earlier answers were practically worthless in this rigged game show logic. He asks for the name of Japan's oldest era, and the subspace answers correctly, winning that round as well. In the end, he declares they now have 3 minutes to bring something that will make him happy. At this, the subspace quickly rises, believing he has the advantage since he can access any store and knows the Demon Lord quite well from long ago. At that moment, the subspace brings the latest manga, recipe books, and every cooking item he can gather, earning a word of thanks. Asuka grows slightly nervous, making the subspace think he has already won. But then she places a gift in front of him, a book she bought for him on her way back from school. She did not have enough money to buy them all, so she only bought 2 copies. The moment it is revealed that she also attached a handwritten card with it, the subspace is left completely stunned by the power of actual thoughtfulness. The hero feels that the subspace's gift is far greater, so she assumes he has won, but he declares that he values both of their gifts equally. That leaves the subspace stunned, realizing the Demon Lord intended from the start to keep both of them equal. He then cries out that he has lost, admitting he treated the hero like an enemy from the beginning and used his magic powers to defeat her. In that moment, he collapses to the ground. When she rushes to his side, he reveals that he has never used this much magic before, and because of that, he can no longer remain in his human form for long. She steps forward and gently holds his hands, leaving the subspace stunned. She explains that she does not have much magic, but she can still share her power with him like a portable battery pack. In that moment, he starts feeling that the hero is truly a kind girl and tearfully expresses his shame. Asuka assumes he is in pain, while he, moved by her kindness, tells the hero that from today onward, if the Demon Lord troubles her even slightly, she should report it immediately and he will protect her. The next day, Asuka seems troubled because she still has not made any friends. The Demon Lord mentions this while speaking with the subspace, declaring it is now their job to help, while the subspace responds with his usual cold expression. He questions whether the hero does not consider them friends, but the Demon Lord declares that kind of friendship is worthless compared to actual social status. He explains that either she makes friends herself, or they will have to choose one for her, just like he once chose the subspace. With that, he asks him to come along. Soon they spot a girl standing in the city. When asked, he reveals her name is Azuki, and that she is the hero's classmate. He then declares that they will make those 2 friends through a little light stalking. Hearing this, the subspace is stunned to learn that the Demon Lord has actually prepared a full shortlist of potential friends for Asuka. He tells the subspace that the hero is afraid of getting exposed in front of others. The subspace, now slightly irritated, decides to help. The Demon Lord suggests a test on the girl standing ahead. He drops a meteor, causing nearby people to panic. But the girl, Azuki, barely reacts, just looks at her phone and ignores it with a LOL. The Demon Lord concludes that she is so unaware of her surroundings that even if the hero reveals her identity, Azuki would not even notice or care as long as the Wi-Fi works. After seeing the Demon Lord's point, the subspace considers helping him. The Demon Lord tells him they may need to go negotiate and even persuade her properly, but then casually claims he was just joking. The subspace asks if they can really become good friends, and even starts believing both sides could form a proper friendship. At that moment, the Demon Lord calls him Subby, giving him a nickname and stating that friendship needs a natural process, so he will create a natural coincidence to make it happen. When he begins casting his magic, even Subby is stunned. The Demon Lord explains that his plan is called the Go Home Together plan, because in anime, people often become friends just by walking home on the same path to avoid writing actual dialogue. A boy comes to Azuki, and through the Demon Lord, they learn he is her brother. Subby is even more shocked that he has kept full family information tracked. As he studies the hero and their movement patterns in his mental map, he slightly shuffles their positions using his magic. But Subby states the situation has turned into a puzzle-like setup that will not work. Even the brother and sister start feeling suspicious, noticing they are moving in circles. The scene starts feeling pointless, like a horror movie sequence where the killer gets lost. Subby gets frustrated, thinking the hero might have already realized something is off, so he has no chance left to make them become friends. He plans that when they meet at a corner of the road, he will wrap their paths together, but as he expresses this, he suddenly realizes the Demon Lord has caused another problem. He notices the Demon Lord has accidentally changed gravity and the magnetic field. While trying to fix it, he sees Azuki floating in the air, while her brother starts screaming. Azuki, however, feels like her diet is working in the most literal way possible. Subi is shocked by her clueless reaction, but her brother's situation makes him even more stunned as he keeps calling for help. The hero hears his voice, rushes shouting to the top of the building, and both the Demon Lord and Subi are watching everything unfold. Asuka jumps and grabs her hand in a single move, saving her from getting hurt, and brings her safely onto the floor. She asks if she is okay, and how she was even flying. Azuki replies that she does not know, and Asuka is surprised by her completely calm reaction. The two start talking, and before long they even exchange contact IDs. Seeing this, the Demon Lord and Subi feel their mission is complete and decide to celebrate it over a very successful gravity disaster. At night, the Demon Lord suddenly tells Subi to take human form. When he arrives, he notices the environment feels unusually serious and tense. He starts thinking that there might be some kind of emergency, or at least a dramatic monologue. She mentions she wants to level up to a crap load, and Subi immediately panics because she admits her current level is still too low and she cannot accept this situation. Seeing her seriousness, he starts preparing to attack again, but the Demon Lord insists he will not allow anything like that to happen because his plan is to complement the hero to the point of madness. He tells Subi that the hero has a skill where she converts positive emotions into EXP. The hero also realizes she is getting tired of randomly leveling up at school because whenever her friends compliment her, she gets triggered. It feels like her stomach is starving in the middle of class, making high school even more awkward. She knows that if she pushes herself to a crap load level, normal progression afterward will become difficult, which ironically would still be easy for the Demon Lord. He then compliments her, stating he has never seen someone as beautiful as the hero in centuries, and her level up begins immediately. Both of them start praising her one after another, stacking compliments until her level keeps rising. Subi notices he is not seeing any meaningful stat gains, while the Demon Lord's words seem to be helping her level up more effectively. Subi starts wondering if this sudden leveling is even normal for a functioning human being. When they look again, the hero appears extremely dizzy, and both of them realize something is seriously wrong with her condition. When she starts speaking in a slightly tipsy state, Subi is shocked. The Demon Lord explains that this is the result of intoxication caused by sudden magic overload, since the rapid increase of magic in her body is affecting her like this. In that moment, he notices the hero start laughing and saying she does not need wings to fly. As soon as she points toward the roof, a massive explosion occurs there. If seen from 3 different camera angles, it becomes clear that massive destruction has taken place, as the entire roof has been blown into the air. Yet she is still quite tipsy, which starts worrying Subi and the local insurance agents. The Demon Lord then states he is going to try to calm her down. Subi comes up to her and tells her they will fix her house, but first she needs to sleep. When he notices she is not under control, he tries to store her away inside his subspace to stop her. But as he gets close, Asuka suddenly asks him a question, leaving Subi completely stunned. Because her sudden surge of magic has basically punched a hole in Subi's control, the Demon Lord calmly notes that she is currently operating at peak energy due to the overload, and mentions he will fix Subi afterward if there are enough pieces left. Asuka then calls him over to cheer her up, offering a light fist bump. But the moment she taps him, the Demon Lord is blasted through the air and sent flying far away. Subi's panic immediately spikes even more. He regains his senses and immediately tells Subi to move aside. Then he addresses the hero, asking whether she is doing all this intentionally or not, since in her current state, she is powerful enough to seriously injure everyone nearby. He explains that until her magic effect stabilizes, they must protect the neighbors from any danger and their property values. Subi starts thinking that their roles have completely reversed here. At that moment, the hero starts throwing shockwaves at them, making the situation even worse. Subi realizes that if her sword is drawn now, both of them could be in danger. And to make things worse, the hero mentions she will give them a quiz. She asks what is common between her brain and something inside the house. She then draws her sword and declares, "Both are sharp." Subi and the Demon Lord realize the situation is out of control, feeling like the game is over since this is exactly the unpredictable danger they feared. The Demon Lord takes control, while Subi thinks it is turning into a battle manga with a very confused protagonist. But in that moment, they see the hero collapse to the ground, and the Demon Lord realizes she has fallen asleep. He places her on the bed, and both he and Subi start fixing the house. The next morning, when she wakes up, they ask if she remembers anything. She starts blushing heavily, and nervously says she remembers nothing, while the Demon Lord calmly states that she remembers everything with terrifyingly high-definition clarity. On a random morning, Asuka wakes up at 7 and comes downstairs. She sees him ahead of her, and he greets her good morning. Still half asleep, she walks straight and bumps into the Demon Lord's chest, apologizing instantly as her brain finishes loading. But suddenly, both of their behaviors shift. When they look at each other, they start pointing and shouting in confusion. Subby also arrives and says he has never seen them like this before. It turns out their bodies have actually switched with each other. When Subby listens to their explanation, he first asks if this could have happened accidentally, and both of them agree. But before anything else, school tension arrives. Inside the hero's body, the Demon Lord states that he will go to school today in Asuka's place to preserve her perfect attendance. Asuka immediately shouts that it is impossible, but the Demon Lord replies that one should not give up before even trying. Dismissing her arguments as useless motivational excuses, he insists that attending school in this condition is still necessary. At this point, both Asuka and Subby find his point reasonable. Asuka goes to her body and says she needs to get it ready for school. She properly dresses the Demon Lord in the hero's uniform, and he leaves for school, saying he will try his best to act like a normal girl today. Back at home, Asuka and Subby both start worrying about him like anxious stage parents. To keep an eye on him, Subby brings out a spy plan that lets them observe everything, but the issue is they cannot interfere, only observe. Meanwhile, Asuka, inside the Demon Lord's body, starts feeling embarrassed. At that moment, they see Azuki come in and hug Asuka from behind, expressing a lot of affection. But the hero finds this situation completely inappropriate, since the Demon Lord is usually awkward when greeting others and tends to act in a strange, overly formal way, like an ancient, polite statue. In that moment, the hero grabs Subby and starts shaking him because she is nervous seeing the Demon Lord's behavior in her body. Azuki also mentions that she looks quite different today, but Asuka feels relieved after realizing Azuki is actually talking about sunscreen. Hearing their conversation, both of them feel that the day might actually go smoothly for them. Then school time begins, and both of them notice that the Demon Lord easily gets through the first 3 periods by calmly writing notes. Asuka starts to feel relieved, thinking he can handle it, but suddenly the teacher addresses him and asks a question. Asuka immediately panics, because it is a math question, and she fears something might go wrong with his dark magic logic. But the Demon Lord stands up with full confidence and starts solving the math question. The moment he speaks, the entire class goes silent. Then suddenly, the whole class bursts into laughter. Asuka, feeling embarrassed, sits down in depression and covers his face with her hand. Subby tries to cheer him up, but he is too depressed, thinking no normal student would give such a confidently wrong answer with such dramatic flair. Azuki then tells him the next class is PE, and she wants him to do some magic trick for it. Meanwhile, both of them are watching this entire scene through Subby's setup. During PE class, a student calls Asuka P-chan and mentions that all the balls stuck on the roof have been there for 200 years, and no one has ever managed to bring them down. Hearing this, the Demon Lord immediately accepts the challenge. He picks up a basketball and throws it so powerfully toward the roof that it bounces multiple times, shocking all the students. The impact causes all the stuck balls to fall down, and soon a rain of different types of balls, including footballs and beach balls, starts coming down. Subby is stunned, while Asuka holds her head in frustration, and the entire class watches in shock. The Demon Lord spins the basketball on his finger in his usual confident behavior, gaining admiration from the whole class like a cosmic sports star. Asuka gets tense, worried he might end up getting a new nickname here too. Meanwhile, the entire class starts collecting the balls. Asuka's anger cools down as she feels he is actually helping the school staff. After some time, he returns home and immediately receives praise from Subby for his good behavior. Just as Asuka starts to complain, she realizes she has returned to her own body. Both of them notice this and feel quite relieved and happy about it. Now Asuka gets tense because she could not keep an eye on the Demon Lord after lunch break. She asks him if everything went fine. He replies that everything was fine. In fact, the class treated him quite well, and he has already exchanged contacts with more than half the class. Hearing that she has now become somewhat popular, Asuka immediately panics at her new social responsibilities. The next day, Asuka is relaxing at home when she sees a message from her father. At the same time, the Demon Lord arrives and asks what happened with the previous hero. She casually says they were just talking about some recipe-related thing and sends him away, closing the door after he leaves. Then she reads the message, where her father is still trying to find a way to defeat the Demon Lord with the persistence of a telemarketer. She asks if he really needs all of this, but her father starts shouting at her. She brushes it off as a joke, but later starts thinking that maybe all of this is happening because of that legend. Her father and grandfather are traveling across the world just to find a way to defeat the Demon Lord, but as she steps out of her room, she realizes she doesn't actually know know what kind of being the Demon Lord really is. She starts wondering if he came from an egg or from a galaxy, and her concern about him slowly grows deeper. She also thinks that the Demon Lord is truly a demon, which is why people consider him an enemy and believe he holds the power to destroy everything. That is why the hero clan keeps searching for new ways to defeat him. At that moment, the Demon Lord arrives and asks what's wrong, and she calmly explains her frustration in a normal tone, ignoring the apocalyptic irony of it. He extends his hand and uses recovery magic, making her feel slightly better. She thanks him and then holds out her hand, asking him to help her stand up. At the same time, she keeps thinking whether the Demon Lord really needs to be killed or not. Gradually, she starts feeling that maybe killing him isn't necessary. Following the hero's suggestion, he summons an ice cream. During all this, she decides it might be better just to monitor him instead, and then she starts monitoring him. As she observes, she notices he is just following his daily routine, repeatedly watching anime and reading manga. Apart from that, he does nothing else, and every day his routine stays exactly the same, like a very powerful internet router. One day, out of curiosity, she calls him and asks why he always wears the same clothes, wondering if he has nothing to change into. He goes quiet for a moment, then says he is not human, so he doesn't really need things like that to avoid getting dirty or maintaining himself the way humans do. She feels this is the right chance to investigate him, and suddenly shouts, splashing water on him as if conducting an experiment. She demands straight answers to her questions. When he starts explaining metabolism, she interrupts, saying she is not asking about chemistry, but morals. He then explains that for him, not having metabolism is like being free from physical activity. Asuka then realizes he doesn't do laundry or even use a bath properly. He admits he hasn't done any of that for years. She insists he still must do laundry and bathe, but he says it is a waste of time. Still, she keeps pushing him to do it, as hygiene is a mandatory quest. At that moment, she picks up on a point that if the Demon Lord doesn't even remember the last time he bathed, then he must have been doing something consistently all this time. He then admits that yes, perhaps that's true, because he used to be human once. Hearing this, Asuka becomes even more shocked. She reacts so strongly that the Demon Lord becomes a bit confused. He asks why she is reacting so late. She just starts panicking and hesitating, struggling to process the fact that he was originally human. Meanwhile, the Demon Lord assumes that Asuka might have already known this information earlier. All this gives Asuka some relief. At least he wasn't something like born from an egg, which would have been very messy. She blushes a little while looking at him and asks how he even became a Demon Lord. He replies that he doesn't remember everything clearly, but he recalls he used to be an ordinary attractive person who was quite fond of studios and similar things. At that moment, she places her hand on his face and asks if he even gets temperature changes. He replies that he is at standard room temperature. She then asks if he is alive, but this time the Demon Lord doesn't sound confident. He looks down at himself and admits he doesn't think any human organs are left inside him anymore. Then it clicks in her mind that the Demon Lord had mentioned earlier he doesn't need food or water. She realizes she still hasn't found any solid information that could help defeat him. She stays lost in her thoughts, still convinced that in the end, a Demon Lord is still a Demon Lord. But another thought crosses her mind. What if they could turn him back into a human again and fix his terrible fashion sense? Would he still remain a Demon Lord, or would everything change? If that happens, her parents would no longer need to kill him. The Demon Lord notices her confusion and asks why she looks so down. She quickly changes the topic to dinner. Then she checks her phone and sees a message from her father asking about progress. She goes silent for a moment, thinking deeply, then suddenly stands up, saying she has an idea. She thinks to herself that she had never even considered that the Demon Lord could be turned back into a human, but it feels like if that really happens, things could become much better for both of them.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away.